Let's look at ground rent situation now. This is a slightly different, and for some people getting the concept of it is a bit uncomfortable, but it's really a very simple concept. The idea is I might own a block of land. For whatever reason I can't be bothered, or maybe I don't have the resources to put the optimum building upon it. And so what I do is I say, well, that building, if we say put an office tower on it, the economic life of the office tower might be 30 or 40 years. And so I might come up to an investor, it might look like you, and I might say to you, I will lease my land to you for 40 years. During that time, you can build a building on it and you can lease it all out to tenants. All you have to do is pay me the rental value of the land that the building is sitting on. And you can do that for the next 40 years, so that'll be pretty much your working life. And at the end of that time, well, you can kind of walk away because you will have paid off your investment in the building, so you get a nice return. And I'll end up with a very old building I'll have to pull down and do something with, I don't know. So that's the normal story for ground rents. The way that ground rents are worked out, and this is explained with some detail in the study guide, is that it works on the recognition that land value is a residual. And so we work back from the value of the building and the need for the investor, the person who either buys the building or puts it up, to get a sufficient return over the life of the building, the life of the lease, to be able to amortize, to justify their initial investment given their discount rate. Now, because this is a build and invest or build and hold strategy for the investor, it's relatively high risk, and so there's going to be certainly a different risk profile between the landowner who's got the certainty of getting something coming back in terms of land rent and eventually taking over the building, so that's low risk, whereas the investor has the tenancy risk, the building risk, the development risk, lots and lots of risks. And so you'd expect that the investor would have a very high discount rate by comparison. And so in practice, you need to be sensitive to those discount rate questions and the allocation of risk. However, the mathematics is extraordinarily easy because all you have to do is use the payment function in Excel or on your calculator to work out what payment over the term, 40 years, is appropriate using the discount rate, in this case 15%, to pay for an investment of $20 million. And it turns out that when we calculate that, and I'd like you to do that on your financial calculator, it comes out with an annual return that the investor has to earn of something like $3.011 million. If we know that the property developed to its highest and best use is going to expect a property rent of $5.1 million, what we can then do is subtract what the investor needs in order to justify their investment, to earn their 15% on their $20 million investment. As long as I can earn that, which is the $3 million each year, the rest I can keep as ground rent for simply supplying the land. And so in this situation, it's $5.1 million minus 3.011 leaves me being able to charge $2.088 million. And it's a good idea for you to check that on a calculator or maybe run up an Excel spreadsheet, or preferably both, to actually sort of check that the numbers are there. You'll see this is delightfully straightforward. There's really only one financial calculation involved, and it does give you a very precise idea of what ground rent is possible, is feasible, because at $2.088 million, I allow the investor, you, to spend your $20 million and get sufficient returns, sufficient revenue over the life of that investment, so that over 40 years you've justified your $20 million investment. The fact that I end up with the old office block, a 40-year-old office block at the end of it, well, there are different opinions as to what a 40-year-old office block will be worth. Let's say mid-century or what have you. A lot of people would say, oh, isn't that unfair? I end up with the land plus the building. On the other hand, realistically, I might end up with a building that I have to spend money to pull down. So there you go. Okay, move now into the actual examples, and hopefully these examples should give you the concepts. And so now when we go into the more detailed and more complex modelling, it should sort of make sense for you.